Howdy everyone, and welcome back to The More You Grow. We have a lot more going on here at Howdy Farm that I just had to bring you along for. Our citrus here at Howdy Farm is ripening up and it's looking great, absolutely doing amazingly. The cool thing about that is this citrus is super cold hardy because it got down to I think 25 degrees on Tuesday here, and look at it. It's hanging out like a champ, doing absolutely amazing. And one thing I want to do while I'm here is I want to start some of this citrus from seeds. I believe these are ColdHardy Satsumas, but I'm not sure on that. But I want to start some of them from seed because I want some of that ColdHardy genetics that I can start some maybe back at home, see what it does. It's not going to cost me anything to start it from here, so why not start a bunch of them? So I thought I'd do a video showing you how to start citrus from seeds. You can either do that from the grocery store. If you got fresh citrus around where you live, you can use that. Just any kind of citrus seeds. I'm going to show you how you get it started, how you grow your citrus plants up from there, and what you can do with them after. So let's go check it out. Alrighty, so we picked some of the oranges from the trees outside. What these are actually called are called changsha mandarins. What's so special about these is they're super cold hardy for citrus. These can handle temperatures down to around 9 degrees, which is crazy for citrus in my mind. And the only downside to them is they have a lot of seeds in them. Most people don't like to spit all the seeds, but in our case, we want the seeds anyways because we want to start a lot of trees. If you're looking for a citrus that is very cold hardy, doesn't have a lot of seeds, look at something like the Arctic Frost Satsumas. They'll make a nice little mandarin orange such as this. They're super cold hardy, don't have nearly as many seeds. It's a wonderful variety. If you're working with fruit from the grocery store, if you're getting your seeds from there, you can look at things such as your grapefruit, your key limes, some of your lemons, they'll have a lot of seeds. Things like your grapefruit will be pretty true to type, but in the case of hybrid fruits, you're going to get something that's going to be pretty different from the fruit that you're eating. You never really know from store-bought citrus what you're going to get. But it's fun anyways, and it's fun to try out, so I highly recommend it anyways. So let's start some of these so that way we can get us some cold hardy citrus trees that I'm going to try to plant at home and see what they do. So let me show you the steps in getting your citrus seeds started and a trick that I've learned to make your seeds sprout weeks earlier than if you didn't do this. So let's go check it out. So one thing I love about these changsha mandarins is they're kind of like the cuties and the other names for the little easy to peel mandarins you get in the store. These are super easy to peel, and I love that about them because you can just get one, snack on it a little bit, and it comes out very easily and peels like a charm. So you have something that looks a lot like your store-bought mandarins that are easy to peel. They go by the names of cuties. Forgot some of the other names, but you'll see them in the store in bags all the time. So if we look here, we've got just the little pieces, and one thing I love about these changsha mandarins is yes, they have a lot of seeds, but they pack an amazing flavor. It's a lot better than a lot of store-bought citrus you can get. So it's kind of a sacrifice or a trade-off. You get a lot of seeds, but you get an excellent flavored little orange here. So I'm gonna get the seeds out of this. I'm not gonna show myself spitting seeds on camera. I'm gonna spare y'all from that. So once I get those seeds, I'm gonna show you a trick to where your citrus seeds will sprout in like 2 weeks rather than like 2 months. So let me show you that once I get these seeds. All right, so we have some of our seeds here. There's probably about 3 seeds per little section. Now I know that's a lot of seeds for most citrus, but let me tell you, the flavor of these things is well worth spitting a few seeds, so I don't mind that very much. So let me bring you in a little closer. I'm going to show you one step that you can do to getting citrus seeds to sprout way faster. So let me bring you in for that. Okay, so we've got one of our citrus seeds here, and one thing I want to tell you is you want to do this while the seeds are still wet. You don't want to let these dry down at all. It's just going to decrease your germination rate. So what I'm going to do here is you'll see on this seed that it has kind of a little waxy seed coat on it. What we're going to do is we're going to remove that. The reason why we want to remove that is because this seed coat is preventing water from getting into the seed, and it protects it. But if we want this thing to sprout faster, we have to take this off. If we don't, the seed has to wait until the seed coat naturally decomposes and water can get to the seed. But by doing this, we're just skipping that step entirely. So taking our seed coat off of our seed. It's pretty easy to do when they're still fresh, so I highly recommend not waiting around to do this step. If you can, eat your citrus and just directly plant it once you get this step done. It'll make it way easier. So now that we've got it peeled, we've got a little seed that looks about like this. So I'm gonna do that with the rest of these. I'm gonna get them planted up and show you that process. Alrighty, so I peeled some of the seed coats off of the seeds we have, so let's get them planted up. What are you gonna need to get them planted? I'd recommend just something small to get started with, like this 4-inch container will work perfectly fine. You don't have to get a large container to start with. We will have to transplant it up eventually, but to start it off with, this will be perfectly fine. As far as soil goes, I just have a good general purpose potting mix here. The only thing you want to make sure of is that it's well draining. Citrus do not do well with wet roots. They need to stay a little moist, but they don't need to stay soggy or the roots will rot. So a good general purpose potting mix will work. There are things such as the citrus, cactus, and palm mix that you can get from some of your garden centers, and that is absolutely amazing. That works great. If you can find that, I would say go for that, but if you can't, just a good quality potting mix will be perfectly fine. So now that we've got our seeds peeled, all we have to do is get them planted up. So I'm just gonna take our seed and I'm going to plant it, about maybe 2 inches or so. You want to cover it enough to where the seed will stay moist and not dry out being too close to the surface, but you don't want to plant it too deep where it takes a long time for it to come up and uses up a lot of energy that it didn't have to use. So I'd say about 2 inches will usually be just fine, 1.5 inches, just as long as you can keep them moist. So that's really all there is to it. We just have to wait for a little while. I would say if we peel the seed coats off like we did, it's around 2 weeks or so, you'll start to see your seeds emerge. If you leave that seed coat on, it'll be around a month or more before you start to see any of your seeds come up. After a few months of growth, you'll end up with a little citrus tree that looks about like this. And what you can do with that at that point is citrus grows really well in containers, so it's a good container plant if you want to try to grow a fruit tree in containers. It does well outside if you live in the right area. So around here in College Station, these Changsha mandarins do absolutely amazing. So if you get somewhat mild winters or it doesn't really get down into negative temperatures, then these are a great option. As long as it really doesn't get too much colder past about 9 degrees, you should check these out. As far as conditions for your little citrus seedling, what you're looking for as far as temperature and light requirements, you want it to have around probably 6 to 8 hours of light a day. It likes good warm temperatures. If you can give it around 75 to 80 degrees, citrus are gonna absolutely love that. As far as fertilizer goes, you just wanna have a good balanced fertilizer to keep it happy. Look for any deficiencies and look back on my video I did on container plant success on identifying nutrient deficiencies if you wanna check that out. As far as everything else, that's about it. Citrus is one of the easiest fruit trees I've ever grown. They do really well in containers. I've got some lemon trees back home that I can talk about later on if you'd like. You've seen in some of my videos that there are some pests that will get on your citrus trees, such as scale insects and spider mites, but just knowing how to take care of those and how to keep your tree healthy will help to deter a lot of those problems. Usually your pests come in when your tree is weak or it has a deficiency where it's not healthy. The insects go for the trees that are lacking or not healthy or not doing very well first. So as far as that goes, we can talk about that more in another video, but if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. If you have any more questions for me on how to grow citrus from seed, leave it down in the comments. I'll be sure to get to you on that. If you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Go check us out on Facebook and Instagram and hit that bell icon for notifications. Until next time, I hope you'll join me right here on The More You Grow.